Hello, welcome back to The Future Is Ours. Session 3 of 8. This time we're going to have a look at some really cool audio effects. So if we click on this little triangle thing over here, we're going to go straight into audio effects. And in here you can see there's quite a lot of inbuilt effects for you to play around with. I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm going to quickly show you 3 that you are most likely to want to use in your DJ mix. So the first one I'm going to show you is the auto filter. Now I can click, I can drag it, I can drop it into any channel I want, like that, or else I can double click it like that if I've got the channel highlighted. So I just need the one. So let's play a track, hear what it sounds like. So I'm going to grab this little circle here. I can go up, I can go down, I can go left, I can go right. So as you can hear, this is basically your frequency range of the track, and so inside this wave is the sound that is allowed to pass, to come through. So this is a low pass filter because it's always letting the low pass go. It's cutting off all this high end here, but your up and down is your resonance. So what that's doing is adding this cool little wave, this sweep at the front, which gives it that kind of cool effect. Basically it's boosting the volume at around the frequency that it's above. So that's your resonance and your frequency. If you want to change it to high pass filter, there's one here, you can do that, same effect. Same but in the opposite, so it's letting the high passes go, the high frequencies go. So you can do some cool stuff with that. Another cool thing to show you, you've got LFO over here. If I play that, bring the LFO all the way up. Maybe put it here. Make it go faster. So as you can hear, that's bringing the wave in and out based on the shape it shows you here. So you can change the shape, get some cool effects. Try that. You can change this to the grids. Get some cool effects that way. Cool. So there's other stuff to play around with there, but I'll let you explore more. That gives you the basics of how you might use a filter. Let's load in a ping pong delay. So ping pong delay is one of my funnest effects. So let's bring the filter back down to nothing, so it's having no effect on the track. We'll bring the dry wet on the delay down to 0. So a delay is basically going to delay the audio coming through it. As suggested, it's ping-ponging between the left and the right, the two speakers, and you can decide how many beats before it delays or repeats itself. So let's try a different track this time. Let's bring it in. Your stop button up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Use your stop button, play that again. So each of these different numbers corresponds to a different, whoops, messed that up a bit, corresponds to how many beats you let it play for before it delays. Feedback is how many times it's going to delay it. Obviously, the higher the feedback, the more it's going to keep on playing. And then up here, again, this is your frequency range, same as you had in your filter. So you can make it only affect parts of the track. So let's bring that to 50%, let's say. Roughly. So there you go, there's some really cool fun stuff you can do there with the ping pong delay. Last one I'm going to show you today is, where are ya, is reverb. So again, I'll just drag it in, set everything to 0. Let's put our dry wet to 0. Dry wet obviously means dry is just the original audio, wet means the affected audio. You mix how much of the effect is coming through. We'll try a different track this time. Why don't we go for this one? So add in some reverb. Bring it back in. So as you can hear, it's putting it into a big space, a big digitally created space. The decay time is basically how big that space is. So the bigger the decay time, the longer it takes for the sound to reflect back from the digital, the virtual walls you've created. Again, up here you've got your frequency range, so you can low cut it, make it only affect the high end, for example. Some other cool stuff like pre-delay, the size of it you can mess around with. Lots of different things, but again I'll let you explore the main features of that one. Between the three of them you've got basically everything you need to really have some dynamics in your mix. Next episodes we're going to show how we can load in some controllers to control these effects so you can do it live in a mix. The cool thing as well is you can use these in your recorded mix as well. You remember this was one of the recorded mixes from before. So if I do it really quickly, let's maybe have a quick listen somewhere. Okay, so we're in techno track. I've already loaded a couple. So I've got the filter here. So different ways I can do it. I can press the record button, do it live. Or else I can draw it in. Basically this line here, as you can see, it's just drawn in. This is my automation line. So I can make a marker here, mark at the end of the track. So I click on what I want to control, in this case the frequency, which is the way up here. As you see, it'll just follow that line. If I want to change the resonance, I can do that as well. So there you go, you've got automation lines, you can draw your effects in live, you can record them in live by pressing the global record up here, or else you can draw them in with these really cool automation lines. To begin with, there's no automation on the track or on the parameter you're trying to automate, and it will just show up like this with a kind of perforated line. Again, you can automate it just by doing that, and all of a sudden it has the full line and do whatever you're doing. So that's the volume, for example. So as you'll see over here, the volume will slowly be going down. Move it fast like that. Cool, so I think that's enough for now. That gets you enough going. There's obviously loads more effects you can load in. So my suggestion now, if you've got your mix good to go from the last session, now you can load in some effects onto each channel. And yes, just start playing around with them. There's different ways you can do it. You can obviously load in the same effects chain onto each channel, or you can have different effects set up on different channels and play around with it. Just develop your own way of doing it. Some people have separate channels like this, and they'll call them deck 1, deck 2 for example, and then you only need to have your effects over 2 channels, and then you would just drag in the track you're ready to play. And then, so yeah, so it saves you processing rather than having lots of effects on lots of different channels. You can do it that way. But yeah, the beauty of Ableton is there's an almost infinite amount of ways to really make it your own. So yeah, without further ado, off you go and enjoy exploring some cool effects. And I'll see you next time, where we're going to learn how to incorporate some cool controllers and start to get our hands dirty and greasy with some cool dynamics. I'll see you then.